Hey, it's Joe. And do you feel like you have more to contribute at work, but don't know exactly how to get that done or feel appreciated? This is exactly the video for you. So, welcome back. This is part two on the Taking Spirit to Work workshop. This is a brief series on how to bring spirit into your work, even if you have a muggle job. Okay, so today is part two, and we are redefining the concept or paradigm of contribution because this is a huge one for people. We're human. Most of us have this giant desire to contribute to the world, to other people, to people we love, to contribute in our jobs. So, this is what we're talking about. Now, if you are retired or you are a stay-at-home parent or you're between jobs, all of the information here and the paradigms and experiences can all be shifted to just about any area of life. So this is not limited to if you have a big career or you're an entrepreneur or anything like that. This is transferable to every part of your life. So hang out. Okay, so we're going to redefine contribution. So most of us were taught as we grew up through family, society, TV, all of that kind of good stuff, that contribution was visualized in the terms of what we do. So, our doing, our tasks, our job description, the outcomes we produce. And the old paradigm says that contribution equals productivity, performance, what others validate, and what you get praised for. And that is how we define contribution, how we know if we're contributing or not. So that is the old paradigm. It takes a lot of effort. It's often stressful and it can leave us feeling really underappreciated, especially if you're perhaps an entrepreneur and you don't have colleagues that are around you all the time to praise or to give you thanks or whatever. Or if you work in a very large company where often you feel kind of like a small cog in the big machine. So it can leave us feeling unappreciated, stressed, and it always depends on the recognition from others. So we're always looking outside for that source of validation. But here's the truth. The model is narrow, it doesn't work, it's outdated, and it misses out on what the biggest thing we have to offer is, right? So we're always contributing, always, not just through what we accomplish or what we do, but the energy we're bringing to any situation at any time. Now, this spirit has told me that this goes for if you're having coffee with a friend, you're standing in the grocery lineup, or you're doing what you do for a living. It's all the same. We are contributing at all times. So think of yourself like a radio tower. You're constantly receiving information and broadcasting information. Your tone of voice, your presence, even the thoughts that you're thinking all carry a vibration and a frequency, and that is energy being broadcast out into the world. You know, when you see somebody and you're like, they're smiling, but I just have this feeling that that's not really what's going on in here. Yeah, that's because you can feel the energy of their thoughts even while you're looking at the presence of their face. So, and Spirit reminds us that the biggest impact we make is always about the energy and less about the visible things. It's in the energy you're broadcasting because that is what other people are picking up. You know, when you walk into a room and you're like, oh, you could cut the tension with a knife, or oh, it just feels so calm here. That's because the people in the room are broadcasting certain frequencies. So, and have you ever noticed at work how one calm person can bring the meeting down a notch? It can feel a lot more grounded. You have space to think. Whereas perhaps the moderator of the meeting is very stressed and anxious, and that tends to be the feeling of the meeting. Perhaps it's somebody who listens really well, totally changes the atmosphere and the direction of a conversation. That is contribution in its energetic form. always. From spirit's perspective, your true contribution is the frequency that you radiate. You can be a light worker in any job, even a muggle job. And because you're broadcasting patience, kindness, curiosity, or encouragement, that's the frequency of a light worker. So if you have found yourself here, odds are pretty darn good that you're a light worker, especially if you're still here listening to me. So welcome to the gang. Now, Spirit has told me again and again, you can be a healer and work at McDonald's. We don't care. Honestly, Spirit is not as interested in your job description as it is in the energy you're bringing. Because Spirit knows that we need these points of light, these vibration of love being broadcast in every platform. We need it everywhere. There's not one place on the planet Earth that love, compassion, generosity, all of that stuff doesn't need to be broadcast. We need that everywhere. We're going to get more to that too. So the invitation becomes, what do I want to contribute? Not what do I want my job description to look like? Because perhaps your job description right now is something that you're not in love with, but it pays the bills. That's okay. Spirit gets it. Spirit knows that we have this like human life and that we need things like to pay our bills and to put groceries on the table and all that kind of good stuff. It is not asking you to abandon all that in order to be a monk or meditate 8 hours a day or be a Reiki master. That's not the case at all. But rather, what would you contribute if you had a magic wand? How would you make other people feel? How do you want them? What energy do you want them to pick up from your broadcast? So I've had clients over the years who choose things anywhere from, I want them to feel a sense of adventure. I want them to feel brave. I want them to feel secure. I want other people to feel empowered, to know that they can do it. Perhaps they want for other people to see themselves how the person sees them. So if I could see people how God sees them, I want that to reflect back to them. I want them to pick up on how magnificent they are. So anything, you can pick anything. It's imagination is the limit. There is no limit on possibilities for the contribution that you can choose to make. Perhaps you want them to have self-expression or creativity. Now it gets exciting because now you're not limited to the scope of your job description, or you're not limited to what other people will praise you for in the doingness or tasks that are accomplished. You know what I mean? And sometimes we will have a job that feels a bit small for us. It's not very challenging. You've outgrown it. You could do it in your sleep. So this adds a depth or a layer to it that fulfills that desire to contribute. Does that make sense? So first, when we're clear about what we actually want to add, so it's kind of like I've said before that we are walking around in this soup without even realizing it. We are fish swimming in water looking for the water. So now you know what you want to broadcast out into that water. We want to know what we want to contribute. Now it's easier to notice the results because you know what you're looking for. It's not that you're looking for so much outside validation, but you're tuning in through your intuition. Oh, I like that. You're tuning in through your intuition to the energy that others are shifting. So perhaps you're having a conversation with someone. It could be at work, it could be in the grocery store, it could be at the dinner table. If your intention is to have people feel at ease and a sense of groundedness and calmness, to have stress relief, then you will notice once you're looking for it, once you're feeling for it, that perhaps you're mid conversation and all of a sudden you just feel the other person relax. So you may not be able to see all the signs. Their outward appearance may not shift a lot, but their energy does. And so when we are looking for, oh, I love that. When, sorry, when I get downloads mid sentence, I just love it. So when we are tapping into recognizing the shifts in energy, that's when it gets really fun because we're not looking for outward validation so much as we're looking for this is an opportunity for me to tune into what I want to contribute, which is using your intuition. Then you're feeling for that contribution landing somewhere. That's using your intuition too. That is your connection to spirit. Okay. So, and you'll notice how it ripples out because we're sending out these waves of energy, this vibration, but we only get to perhaps see it in the person that we're having a conversation with. Now, how you recognize just how much you're making or how much you're contributing is by how much others contribute to your life. So perhaps you drop something and a stranger picks it up. You drop a bag, somebody really friendly on the street picks it up and hands it back to you. You get a smile. Then you, in turn, open the door and hold it for somebody else. You guys exchange a smile. Then you go to pick up your kids and you notice that you're in a pretty good mood and you have a great conversation with your kids on the way home. It ripples. That's the ripple effect. So if that is happening and you can start to recognize it in your own life, then imagine what happens to the energy that you're putting out that is rippling out into the universe. So you do not need to see the third or fourth ripple out in order to feel that sense of contribution because you have witnessed and experienced it in your own life. You can have faith that it's also happening from you, that you are, as Spirit tells me, the pebble in the pond that's making the ripples. Okay, so, and here how it ties back to yesterday's or the other day, the first session. When you look again, when you look back at session one in the already always listening, you now have a way to choose a new frequency of listening. So before we were bringing our attention to bringing our awareness to what is already always going on in the background. And now with this definition, redefining contribution, you actually have a way that you get to choose what that new frequency is. So when you become aware of it, now we're having the opportunity to choose something new, to work from the new paradigm rather than the old one. This is one step in shifting your perspective and in creating a totally new experience for your job or really any area of life, right? So the invitation is to notice what you have already been broadcasting. Look at your week past. Notice when people come up to your desk. Think back. How do they feel? Think about, you can even ask really good friends or good colleagues, like, hey, what does the energy around my desk feel like? What have you noticed? Like, have I been stressed or have I been contributing? What have I been contributing to the energy of the office? That might be interesting. So as you look back, that's the invitation is to first look back and see what's been going on because we need to be aware of what's currently occurring, right? In order to have a shift in it, because you want to notice the shift. And I can tell you from personal experience and from hearing clients come back after we do an exercise like this and have them say, "Oh my gosh, you have no idea. Like suddenly my desk is very popular." All of a sudden, everybody comes to me with, to tell me how great I am or to tell me how great their day was. Like, hey, I can't believe this happened. Like, this and this occurred today. It was fantastic. Yeah, you want to be the person that everybody comes to in order to tell you all the great things that occurred to them or happened to them. Um, What energy are people picking up from you? If you pay attention, you will notice people's facial expressions, the energy you feel. You want to use your intuition here. And what would it look like to tune your own dial to consciously choose the frequency you want to send out? And nothing is written in stone. You can choose again. So if you choose, oh, I really want people to feel a sense of adventure, and you try that on for a couple of weeks and you're like, you know what? This is actually what I want. I want them to feel empowered. You can switch. It does not have to be the same thing day in and day out. And it could be something different. Now, often spirit will tell me, pick one, it just makes it easier, but you could pick one for work and one for home. Doesn't have to be the same. Okay, remember that no broadcast is wasted. And that goes on the flip side too. So energy is being broadcast 24/7. What are you broadcasting? Even when you don't see the results, your energy is rippling farther out than you know. You are having an impact. And that might just be your greatest contribution of all. Okay, so this was number 2 in the series. I still don't know how many videos are going to be, but please, if you had an aha, if you share below what energy contribution you would like to create in the world. What gift do you want to give to the world and to those that you love and those that you work with and all of that? And then I will see you in part number 3 coming up very soon. Okay, I love you. Mwah.